Luis Arango stepped into the dimly lit bar, the scent of aged rum and sweat enveloping him like a familiar cloak. His polished shoes clicked against the wooden floor, each step punctuating his arrival, announcing a man who thrived on authority. As he surveyed the crowd, he caught sight of Eduardo, a wiry figure hunched over his drink at the far end of the bar. Luis feigned a genial smile, an elaborate performance for the gathered associates who turned their gaze toward the warm glow of camaraderie he hoped to project. Yet, as the vibrancy of his act filled the air, the fleeting reflection in the dusty mirror above revealed the weary eyes of a man who had traded authenticity for a carefully constructed self. "Hey, Eduardo!" Luis called out, lifting his glass in a mock cheer. Eduardo looked up, his face a mask of uncertainty, quivering under Luis's gaze. "Join us, why don't you?" The distant laughter of the associates dulled in tone, descending a notch as if sensing the tension. Luis shot a quick glance at Javier, his right-hand man, a hulking figure with a knack for intimidation. Javier's smirk matched Luis's facade, but somewhere in the room, obscured by flattery, a whisper of disdain flickered for those perceived to be less. With a deep breath, Eduardo set his glass down, casting tentative glances at the triumphant smiles lining the bar. I'm fine here, thank you," he muttered, unwilling to emerge from his shell. His voice barely penetrated the layers of laughter and confidence that surrounded Luis like currency. "Of course you are," Luis laughed, the sound sharp and stinging. "Nothing wrong with a quiet drink while the big shots handle the real business, right?" He saw Eduardo flinch and felt a fleeting triumph rush through him. The wave of discomfort pulsed behind Luis's ribs as he turned back to his companions, engulfed in a moment's warmth, while Eduardo withdrew like a tortured shadow. It didn't matter. Luis had always convinced himself that his nuanced deceptions protected those who were less capable of the gruesome realities of life. After all, someone had to be the strong one. Days passed as their petty rituals continued, but Luis hadn't quite remembered a time when he was not hustling, schemes coiling around him like a noose. His title as chief enforcer for a local cartel loomed large. The mere mention of his name drove endless whispers through the alleyways. The weight of it provided him a twisted sense of purpose, but it carried a cost. Each crooked deal, each dishonest grin dredged away layers of his soul. A few weeks later, the local police began investigating some of the cartel's most prominent figures, tightening their grip on a declining territory. Luis had no intention of being embroiled, but the pressure simmered below the surface. It pushed him into the depths of paranoia, yet he maintained a steady ruse, cloaking himself in power as the tension brewed. One evening, as they gathered at a higher-end club in the city, underground scents mingling with the sharpness of finely aged spirits, a name surfaced amidst the chatter: Elvira, an informant who had recently flipped on them, now singing like a canary with the authorities. How typical, Luis gripped, his voice grating against the lively atmosphere. She's midst-deep in grime, and now she wants to play the victim? Pathetic. "Watch your back, Luis," Javier muttered, swirling his drink. "Her lips are loose. We need to snuff this out before it gets out of hand." A flash of bitterness crossed Luis's mind, but he buried it under mock indifference. "She's just another weakling. I'll handle it." He recoiled slightly from the anger bubbling beneath their jocular facade, inching towards the chaos lurking within. Weeks later, in the shadowy recesses of a warehouse, surrounded by thumping music and hazy lights, Luis found himself face to face with Elvira, a woman who, unlike him, had embraced her vulnerability. She sat bound and gagged, her tears dampening the makeup, failing to mask her reality. "Why do you play the martyr, Elvira?" Luis asked, voice like ice. "You could have walked away." Her eyes sparked with anger and hurt. "And sell out my family? You have no idea what loyalty means." A tightness clenched his chest, but he brushed it away, just as he had Eduardo's reality. "Loyalty doesn't mean being a fool," he replied brusquely. "Just look where it's led you. Even now, you're just another pawn in this vicious game." In that moment, in that room steeped in adrenaline, Luis felt an unfamiliar thrumming at the back of his mind. The door opened, and Javier stepped in, flanked by others. "Luis," he began, brows knit in concern, "the cops are onto us. We need to move now." An unseen radar flared, the weight of his deception sinking deeper. The realization churned something primal, but defiance surged forth. He would not be known as a coward. Luis turned back to Elvira, drawing the blade from his belt, inflicting a semblance of fear before Javier's voice cut through the tension. "Luis, we need you with us. You can't save everyone," he shouted, eyes wide and frantic. Despite the hollowness of it, Luis continued, the blade trembling ever so slightly in his hand. "But I'll make them feel my power, like they always should." And then he lunged without bearing witness to the twisted climax. Later that day, Luis found himself outside his boss's office, heart racing wildly. Everything mirrored the chaos of the past few weeks. He sat across from his boss, a looming figure with a thick mustache shadowing his face. "What you did today was both a success and a foul-up, Luis." He leaned forward, a patron saint of reputations, while Luis's pulse swirled in a frenzy. "Your failure lies in understanding the greater good." He leant forward, a patron saint of reputations, while Luis's pulse swirled in a frenzy. "Your failure lies in understanding the greater good. You draped yourself in a cloak of authority, and now we risk everything," he spat, his voice cold and resounding. From the corner of his eye, he spotted Eduardo standing just outside the office, watching the confrontation unfold. Luis felt that old sting, the sense of contempt piercing his heart like a serrated blade. "You think you're protecting anything? It's a facade, Luis, a mere act," his boss bellowed. "You dishonor the very people you claim to protect." The words echoed painfully around him, splintering his constructed self, until all that remained was an exposed truth, a man masked in false pretenses. He stabbed his fingers into the chair's fabric, buckling under the weight of exposure. But it was too late. He stood up, words stalling on his lips as the four corners closed in on him. The gravity of disgrace hung finally, rather than his previous illusion of authority. "All of you, I still—" "Leave," a voice cut through. He staggered back, wounded by each word. The silence seeping in the room tainted him, revealing the fissures he could no longer ignore. But he could see Eduardo still standing there, his figure steady, anchored in a moment of clarity neither of them could yet claim. Luis's hand shot forward, gripping the edge of the desk, binding him to the moment, fraying threads of illusion. "I know I will salvage this," he whispered, frail yet resolute. And without a backward glance, he left the room, a phantom of the man he once was. Behind him, the dim light flickered, revealing shadows that refused to let go. And as he stepped out into the night, beneath the indifferent stars, the only path before him led to the alley where he began, hesitant and incomplete.